And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. I apologize for the stream going down for a couple of minutes. We didn't miss out on anything. You may have seen a false start because there was a bit of an issue when it came to the lobby last game. But we are back. We are here, and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Gressfarm, we have the South Korean Terran player representing himself. It is Kyor. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Pro Tours player representing the Kwangdong Freaks. It is Stats. Just going to need to make sure that we are correctly on TL and we didn't get removed or anything like that for going down. But I do apologize. Again, the internet was fine. The connection to StarCraft was fine. It was just the Australian Twitch server just refused to connect. It was like they said no. So unfortunately, we did lose connection to Twitch, which is why the stream went down. I've since just connected to a different Twitch server instead, and hopefully this one is more stable. Hopefully this one is okay as we are getting into game number 1. Game number 1. Beautiful. As for now, we do have a double gas opener here from Kyor, going to be a little bit more aggressive. We saw Stats barely make his way past Dimaga earlier, and I do worry for him now because, of course, Kyor is one of the best Terrans in the world, and he is no easy opponent. As much as I love Stats, this is going to be an uphill battle for our Korean Pro Tours. It is going to be an uphill battle, and there we go. We do have a factory first, of course, because it was a double gas opener. Does make plenty of sense from the side of Kyor. Likewise, back at home, Stats just going for a gateway into Cybercore, into expansion. Nothing too crazy. At least he was able to get a read on what was happening. The Reaper will shut down that probe, but Stats is aware of how much more aggressive his opponent is going to be. I'm just checking the chat. Okay, we're good. Making sure everything is fine. And oh, interesting. Okay, it's gonna be a Stargate opener from Stats. Here we go. Oh god. Este Lorimbo, papi. Oh my god, if you were here last night, then you would have been aware of the memes that were had. We raided Gemini and Lorimbo was casting. I love it whenever Lorimbo casts. He's beautiful. He's amazing. He's Italiano. And he it dawned upon him. It was revealed, the revelation was had that I am from Australia. And Lorimbo couldn't believe. He was like, "What? What's going on? He always says papi. What's happening? What? My world, it's upside down. It's like I'm living in Australia." Oh no. It was great. Este Lorimbo. Ay ay ay. Mate, what are you playing in these online tournaments, in these ESL weeklies? Ay ay ay. Give, papi, give. We need some more Lorimbo content. Hold on. Speaking of Lorimbo content. Where is it?
I'm fucking erect right now. This is what StarCraft is all about. Oh my god.
Okay, we're good. Well, let's get back to casting. This is why I miss Asher. This is why I miss casting with Asher. You know, we could just bring up all the Lorimbo memes. It's beautiful. For now, Kyr's just setting up here on 2 bases, setting up a 3-1-1 as, oh, actually, oh my god, delaying his starport by quite a bit here. Hyper fixated on bioproduction, building up his marine count, not quite being too active with his Hellions, as these Phoenixes are granting Stats quite a bit of map control, but I don't know if he can get much else from that, because back at home we have plenty of Marines, we have a Cyclone as well. Kyr is ready and waiting to protect his mineral lines from said Phoenixes. They do dip in, they get a couple of SCVs, 2 SCVs already going down, 3 even. Not too bad. Not too bad from Stats back at home. He's doing what Pro Tours do best in this matchup, and he's setting up for Phoenix Colossus. Robo is out, Safety Immortal is coming out as well. We should be seeing a Robotics Bay momentarily for those initial Colossi. Before they come out though, Kyor is moving out across the map. More SCVs are falling, but Cure, does he care? He does not. He does not turn around. He's moving out across the map. We have the Cyclones for lock-ons. We don't have a shield battery. Don't have an overcharge. Third base is not done. This Immortal having a hard time engaging, having a hard time getting on top of those Cyclones. And the Marines are pushing on forward. Stim isn't even done, by the way. These are vanilla Marines, and there's just too much firepower. Third is denied. The Phoenixes, they try to come back, but what can they really do? The overcharge is putting in a lot of work, and stats really impressive. He's been able to keep his, or maintain his Immortal count, keep them alive. And he does push this back. Even picking up some Marines. Looking at the units lost tab here, bearing in mind that stats hadn't even thrown down his third. Not too much was lost. As stats is going to be pulling back. Oh, and he may have overextended. Stim is now done. The first Immortal goes down. A couple of these Phoenixes as well. Cure looking to snowball out of control. He gets the last Immortal. I was so impressed that Stats was able to trade as well as he did and push back the army, but alas, he did push back a little bit too hard. And now Stats, what does he really have left? He has a handful of gateway units. He's still looking quite vulnerable here at this third base location. Cure, though, is backing off. Again, he had very limited stims available just because he was pushing without medevacs. Medevacs have finally arrived, and we will be topping up these Marines. Third base is being taken on location, and yeah, Cure, he's backing off, he's licking his wounds, he's rebuilding his army. But he's not giving Stats any time to breathe. Moving out once again. As he moves out, a massive shout out to Ranger in the chat. Thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session and a great tournament run as well. I did see that Ranger did face off against Honmono, the best in Japan. So I hope you enjoyed yourself. Hope you are satisfied with your performance and were able to even take from your series as well. Even if your tournament run did end, hope you had a good time. As we're here in game number 1, the double drop does make it into the main base. Oof, and a lot of probes are going down. 3 workers in total. We're focusing on the Nexus itself, and the Nexus will fall. Oh my god. Those Marines, they do so much damage. It's going to be a one-way trip as we have more than enough Phoenixes to shut down these medevacs. Oh, do we get the sentry? We do not. So at least Stats is able to clean up the double drop, but that was still a very hefty loss here. Stats knocked down to 2 mining bases, forced a long distance mine from this main. And these Phoenixes, they got a lot of work to do. They have a lot of catching up to do. And hey, they're going to get some more CVs. They're going to pick up a handful of workers. Not just workers, they catch a Marauder as well. They delay that main base turret, and they're just going uncontested. Oh my god, 10 SCVs. More than I thought would have happened. And we're still not done. This entire time we're building up that Colossus count. Stats' army becoming that much more well fortified here at the third. We're up to 2 Colossi. Gonna be working towards a third momentarily. Phoenixes are recalling back home. I don't blame Stats for the recall. Essentially, yeah, there we go. As he does want to shut down these Widowmine drops, and he will. Looks like 1 probe went down, and detection is required. Do we have any? Unfortunately, okay, we do. Observer is coming back, and this Widowmine should not get another shot off. Should not get an. Should. Oh no. Oh god! Don't kill the observer! Okay, I think. As the Widowmine does get shut down. And now Cure's focusing on his assault. What do we have to work with? We have 4 Vikings, we have a handful of Marauders, some Marines. Are pushing on forward. We're pushing into 3 Colossi. And we just cannot. Likewise, I'm sure Sati's waiting for the move out. If Cure does overextend, or if he commits to a fight, then This Prism can just make a beeline straight for the main base. The base was misplaced. And here we go, Cure. He's just dancing with the army, flirting with the idea of attacking and pushing in. At the same time, Stats does slip into the main. Again, not the best timed Zealot drop, just because Cure is pulling back. But it gets damage done. 5 SCVs, we get the turrets. This is going to make it easier for the Phoenixes to get in here and get even more damage done later on down the line. War Prism is hunted down. And this is looking pretty competitive between our two players. Earlier on, I wanted to give the edge, the advantage to Cure, but now as things settle down, Stats is working towards disruptors. Still only one disruptor at a time, unfortunately. He doesn't have a second robo yet. He should be working on that soon. But without it, if he ever does lose any of these robo units, it's going to be so difficult to replace them. God, it's a lot of Vikings. It's a lot of Vikings, Papi. Here we go. Cure pushing in towards that third base. We do have a couple of disruptors in position. Okay, units are going to force this back. Well, Phoenix is even picking up some Marauders. Very nice trade here from Stats. At the same time, Zealot Rambai does slip into the natural, delays the 4th CC as well. And does get eyes on those ghosts. 8 SCVs, the entire army turns back around once again. Cure, despite being quite active, he wasn't able to really do much of any damage. He could not pull Stats apart. And now Stats, he has a 4-base economy. Now he can afford a second robo, and I keep bringing that up because I really want to see one. I'm really concerned that we don't have a second robo, even a third robo at this point. Like, why not? Is a little concerning. As what's important, even though Cure, he has been losing SCVs, even though his economy isn't ideal, what is ideal is his army. He's got a pretty hefty army here with how many Vikings? He's got 11 Vikings, 6 Ghosts for EMPs, 17 Marauders. Almost as many Marauders as there are Marines. And once again, Cure does split up his army. Scans ahead of time. He's trying to get a read on what's going on. Trying to get a read on where the army location is. And yeah, Cure has now maxed out. I'm a little bit surprised. Like, he's at 200 supply. I'm surprised he's not being a little bit more active. Just considering that, you know, if we wait any longer, he's just going to be banking up resources and he's not being as cost effective with it. And catches some Zealots. Pretty good. He's looking for a way in on the left. He does find a 5th base. He's looking for that cancel. Big EMP, and that is a cancel on the 5th. At the same time, we have another army here pushing in towards that 3rd base as well. There are some Colossi in position. We do have the overcharge. 3rd base is saved. He's looking a little bit close, but Curie just picks up. He goes straight into the main. He hasn't picked up any of the Colossi yet. But yeah, this 5th is not going to get up and running. Not anytime soon. Did we lose our Phoenixes? We did! There's only one Phoenix left, so drop play is gonna work wonders here for Cure. As there is very little that can keep up with it, other than the Blink Stalkers, of course. But Cure's got 3 more CCs on the way. Still just building up his forces, reinforcing this army towards the north. Still no second robo. Still relying on only one. Bold move here from Stats. Oh, as the last Phoenix will go down, you can see Cure, he's getting ready for Liberators at this point. That's a 2nd starport and a fusion core on the way for range libs. That he does split the army with that observer. Doesn't want to get sandwiched. He's working on +1 air attack. It looks like Stats is also thinking about a Sky Toss transition, which can work well. Yeah, second Cybercore on the way for double upgrades. Show us the Stargates. Gib. As Stats, he's just shocking between all these bases. Oof. Takes some big EMPs to the face. And yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. Stats, we still don't see any Fleet Beacon or second Stargate or second Robo. I worry about his production just because if he does take a bad fight, even with a bank, he's gonna have a hard time placing it. And yeah, here we go. Curie's gonna be coming in from behind. Not the best angle from Stats. He's gonna be losing a lot of his disruptors. Yeah, the disruptors are being hunted down. The Colossus as well. Big loss for Stats. And now he throws down the rest of his Stargates. But I don't think he's going to survive long enough because we can see Cure just chasing everything down. Takes down the Colossi. And again, it's going to take far too long to replace all of this. With one Robo, it's not going to happen. Cure, he's still maxed out. Stats, he just plummeted 70 supply down the drain. And the Stargates aren't even done yet. If they were done, then maybe we can start. I mean, we would already have Carriers halfway done or Tempest halfway done. Kier just isn't going to give Stats the time he needs. Kier already has all these Vikings as well. Zealot Rabbi is getting some damage done, but... Here we go. Kier just going to be pushing out across the map. Into 2 disruptors. Decent Nova. Decent Nova here on the army. And we're making 4 Tempest at a time, but we already have so many Vikings. I mean, look at the anti-air that we have. It's just... The Skyshot transition is just not it. Not here, not now. As we get some big EMPs on the army once again. At the same time, we've got Liberators harassing. Kier, he has his entire half of the map under his control. From Kier, he can just kind of trade however he wants. Liberations are just slowly pushing forward. A couple of Vikings are going down. The range here from these Tempests are working in Stats' favor, of course. But it does feel like he's being starved out. He can barely mine from his bases. As Cure rotates back around. Now, Stats, he can take a fight if he connects these Novas somehow, some way. No! But both disruptors will fall. We have 2 more disruptors behind this. But they will get targeted down. Good control from Cure as he focuses down all those high-tech units. And now there's almost nothing left. GG gets called and Cure will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Again, really strong performance there from Cure, and that's kind of how to be fair, like he's the favorite player coming into this. Stats, not quite as refined as he once was back in the day. Back many years ago when he was more active. And sure, Stats did find himself with a maxed out army, yes, but he also wasn't really threatening the economy of his opponent too much. And the angle of attack was quite rough for Stats as well. He was aware that the army was coming from the south, and we saw that in one big move, Stats, he lost 70 army supply. Like, that was the game-winning move, the game-winning attack for Cure. And Stats, yeah, unfortunately just couldn't quite make anything happen with that army. Again, it just wasn't ideal. He wasn't taking up any further either. Again, if he did want to go into SkyToss, that's something that he could have started working on sooner as well. Regardless, GG, well played. We're now getting into game number 2. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player. Representing himself, it is the Masters Coliseum runner-up, Kior. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing the Kwangdong Freaks. It is Stats. And if you weren't here at the start of the game, Stats was looking impressive. You know, with his Stargate opener, with his Phoenixes, he was doing a surprising amount of damage. He was able to deflect the first push as well without losing any of his Immortals. Stats did have a good start. As the game went on, though, Kira was kind of pulling him apart a little bit more. His macro got out of control. And Kira was able to get comfortable. In the chat, that's the state of PvT. Has the Chaos Fade in the chat. That's the state of the game with PvT. I mean, I don't think this series is too indicative of that. I mentioned it earlier, but again, Stats, he's still rising through the ranks and he's still trying to recover. When it comes to Protoss or the Green Protosses that can go toe-to-toe with Cure, I would kind of give that to Hero, Classic, and Creator more so than Stats or SOS. But este Chaos Fade. Hold on, I gotta chat. Este Chaos Fade. Alright, here we go. So far, nothing too crazy. We just see Cure going for a Rax Expand, so a much more economic opener this time compared to game number 1. Do appreciate it. Do appreciate it. As back at home, Stats likewise is going for another Stargate opener as well, very similar to that previous game. Stargate hidden further back in the main base. We'll see if Cure can get a read on that, as Cure actually opted to go Marine first, not Reaper. Secure, he didn't go for an SCV scout, he skipped his Reaper as well. Secure is going to be a little bit more in the dark. As he's setting up here on his 2 bases. He's getting into his 1-1-1. He does have his Hellion out at least, and the goal of this Hellion is for scouting, is for map control. It's what Cure has to rely on here at this stage. Hellion does make its way across the map. Now, is there anything here in position to stop him? There is one Adept at the ramp. Soon to be a second Adept as well. Last Cure does not find a way in. Not yet. And he's going to be following this up with a drop. With a mine drop even. Do you have a mine here in the main? Lying in wait, hoping to catch an Oracle or a Phoenix. And actually, we're going to be dropping with the Marines. We keep the mine at home. Okay. I can dig it. As the drop is going to be moving out. Does bypass a Phoenix. As a Phoenix should recognize that, hold up, where are your units? They are missing. They should be here. And they're not. They are not, as the drop does make its way into the main base, and Stats does not see it ahead of time. Aye. Drop does slip in. We don't have stim. We don't need stim. And probes are going down. Again, a Cure. He threaded the needle past all the Phoenixes, past all the scouting, and yeah, with this army, takes down an Adept as well. It takes down a Phoenix. Oh my god. And he can even focus down some of these probes. 7, 8, 9? Oof, 8 probes in total. 8 probes, 3 Adepts, and 1 Phoenix for 1 Marine drop. It's a pretty good trade, considering Marines, you know, they're just minerals. There was a bit of gas invested in the medevac, yes, but a good way to disrupt the economy of stats. Back at home, we have our 3-1-1 setup. And Stats is trying to get into his Phoenix Colossus once again, as he did in the previous game. Robotics Bay on the way for Colossus production. And we're going to have a very different dynamic here in game number 2. As the Phoenixes take a mine shot to the face. As they do attempt to harass across the map, there is now a Raven in play. And this Raven does pose a big threat for Stats. That's going to be his main target. If he can somehow get on top of the Raven, that'll be ideal. Speaking of Ravens, no! One Phoenix does get targeted down. First Raven will fall. But again, there's still that second Raven just banging up energy. By the time Cure does move out across the map, he is going to have the ability to disable the Colossus and try to break the third base. I'm loving that we have a turret here as well. It's very common for Protoss players to dive in just to get on top of that Raven and kill it. But the turret should help deter and create like this safe zone for Cure's Raven. Third TC is on the way. This move out is going to line up with Stim, with +1, and with combat shields. Phoenix is trying to pick up what they can. Kira does have to babysit his units across the map. And again, because he does have to babysit, it's going to take him a little bit longer to actually make his way over towards Stats. Shield battery is done. We have Sentries of Force Fields, and we have that one Colossus. We had the one Colossus, but the Disable does go off. The Marines and Marauders, they bypass those Force Fields. They're going straight up into the natural. Oh my god. They do depower some of these gateways. Second Disable on the Colossus. And Curie goes straight for the mineral line. The Sentries go down. GG gets called. Too much damage is dealt. And Cure takes the series 2-0. GG. Oh my god, the killer instinct here from Cure to go up against a wall of force fields and to ignore them, to run past them instead and go straight for the jugular, straight for the natural. GG. GG. As Cure will take the series 2-0 in Stats, his tournament run will end here and now. My condolences to Stats. I'm a big fan of Stats. Do have a lot of love for him. But again, he's still kind of building his way back into this, or working his way through the hierarchy of players in Korea, and he's still building himself back up. And Cure is the one to beat right now. Cure is arguably the best Terran player in the world when it comes to TVP. He's pretty damn good. And that means that this next series is not going to be any easier for the Protosses, because up next, I believe, is Classic.